Hey guys, oh no, Amazon's over. It's all over. The Supreme Court ruled against us. We can't sell on Amazon anymore without remitting payments to hundreds and hundreds of sales tax uh, counties and states and all over the place. It's the end of the business. We might as well give up. Well, you may not realize it, but about every 6 months, something comes along that tells you, selling on Amazon, selling online, it's over, it's a dead business. If you're not big already, it's too late, don't start it. And as you can probably figure out by this point in time, very shortly into this video, I don't believe that. So, I wanted to address a few things about the recent Supreme Court ruling. Now, I have to make a claim here. I am not a legal expert. I am not an accountant. So don't listen to me for tax advice. Don't take this as legal advice or tax advice. But I just want to say, from my understanding of that ruling, the Supreme Court did nothing except muddy the waters a bit and punt it to the legislature, the federal court, the federal system, which is the correct thing for them to do. Because yes, it's been an issue for many years. Sales tax and taxes online have been an issue, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. And what I mean by that is we've been running on rules and laws that were put into place 30 or 40 years ago before online retail even existed. They didn't comprehend that it was going to even be a thing. And we need an update to the laws, and we've needed it for many years. And the federal courts did as they were supposed to and say, this isn't something we should legislate from the bench. This actually needs to be written into law. And the US Senate and US government needs to step up and write a law that says how this should be handled. And that's essentially what happened. They said, there is some reason and understanding that times they be a changing, and companies that are doing significant business, if you read their thing, South Dakota, I believe it was, their limit was you had to sell $100,000 a month. That's significant business. Not 100,000 a month, 100,000 in a year. That's a significant business, especially to South Dakota. I mean, that state is so tiny as far as population and orders go. I mean, I sell quite a bit, and there's 50 states. Just back of the napkin math, you'd probably have to be selling about 20 million or 30 million a year to cross that threshold. So little sellers, who cares? This is just South Dakota that's been legislated so far. And the other thing is, what we're talking about is interstate commerce. And as part of the Constitution of the United States, interstate commerce is supposed to be handled by the US government. That's what the Senate and the laws are supposed to regulate, interstate commerce. So that's where the legislation needs to be coming from. We need new laws for it. But until then, it's going to keep going on as it is. At this point, yes, it breaks down some barriers. Some states are going to get a little more aggressive. But realize, for the new sellers starting out, you're peanuts. I mean, think about it. Even a state with a very high sales tax, say 10%. I don't even know what the highest sales tax is, but we're just going to call it 10%. If you're selling 100,000 a year, overall revenue, say that 10% is in California, and they account for 20% of your sales, because California is actually one of those that really, bites into sellers and likes to go after people. So, say the first year you sell 100,000 in sales. California is a big state. They count for about, we'll say 20% of your business. That's 200,000 a year. Well, 10%, not 200,000, that's 20,000. A 10% sales tax on 20,000 is a couple thousand. There are bigger fish to fry, and they're going to go after those bigger fish first. So you're going to have lots of time to see the handwriting on the wall if you're starting out. So don't worry about it. There are bigger things to worry about. One of those is getting started. One of those is getting to the point where you can handle the accounting expenses of reporting sales tax to all these states. It would be a wonderful thing to have a business that was doing so well that, I mean, you just have a full-time accountant that takes care of that, right? So get there, and then you won't have to worry about it because you've hired somebody to take care of it. Okay, so when you're just starting out, don't worry too much about it. Now, do what is legally obligated at this point, and consider that if you're living in a state and you're selling from that state, you should be paying sales tax and reporting that income in that state. Read the laws of your state, become educated, talk to an actual accountant, not a tax service online, because they'll just tell you that you need to buy their services. Okay, talk to an actual accountant who is experienced in interstate commerce, and those don't come they're not a dime a dozen. They're very special, and when you find one, stick with one. So find an accountant that's good, talk to them, and figure out what you should be doing. I'm of the opinion right now that nothing has changed much. We will start to see states move their laws around, but at the same time, with selling on Amazon, Amazon wants a platform where new sellers can start out, because they have a certain amount of churn with their sellers. If you didn't realize this, people come onto Amazon, sell, $10,000, $50,000. 50,000 is a lot, but a lot of the Amazon sellers only sell, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year. That's a majority of their, third-party retailers. It's a hobby for them. It's not a business. It's a hobby. It's side income. And if they don't handle it, if Amazon doesn't handle it, it's going to push these sellers away, especially with these kinds of news articles. But on the news article thing and kind of the whole, sorry if the video's blurry, I'm just doing this on webcam and it's probably just shaking all over the place, but such is life. I don't have expensive video equipment, and I like to keep it that way because it keeps my expenses low, but I probably will invest in a camera at some point. So anyway, side note there. There's articles that come out about every 6 months. Some decision, some law comes around, and articles start circulating all over the place saying it's the end of an era. This isn't going to work anymore. You might as well just pack up your shop and leave. A year ago or so, it was Amazon is courting Chinese sellers. The Chinese sellers are going to ship their goods over on a boat that's owned by Amazon, fly their stuff over on planes that are owned by Amazon, and it's going to cut out all of us third-party sellers. They're going to take over the market and it's going to be done. That hasn't happened. And at the time, I'm like, so what? Because I know how to market to my people. It's a different culture. And, Chinese sellers, there are quite a few of them that are starting to pop up, and some of them are doing well, and I'm happy for them. But that doesn't mean that there's not a lot of space for us too. It's not a limited pool. The pool keeps growing. And as the pool keeps growing, there's space for more people. So why don't you jump in now? If you don't jump in now, it's only going to get harder. I don't know if you realize this, but the government is not pro small business. They like big businesses because it's easy to tax and regulate them. And they like employees, and because the employees are an easy paycheck for government. If you didn't realize that, employees make the government the most money. It's those people that make 200, 300,000 on a salary, on an income that's taxed, that are really biting the bullet when it comes to taxes. It's not the business owners, but they don't like small businesses because we get to use them as a tax shelter, and so we get taxed a lot lower for what we make. And so the government really doesn't care for small businesses. It's hard to regulate them, it's hard to tax them, it's hard to control them. And the big businesses don't like small businesses, and so they lobby the government for regulations that are onerous on the small businesses like us. So the goal is not to fold up shop and go home crying with our thumbs in our mouths. We don't do that. What we do is we begin to think of our business as a big business and ask, how do I get there? And it doesn't take that long before you realize that everything's doable. And when these articles come out, I'm going to say that they're going to come out every 6 months. Something's going to say, you know, this is the end of an era. You might as well, if you haven't started already, don't start. If you're small, you might as well fold up shop and leave. You know, if you've just started, you know, it's over. Don't believe him. It hasn't happened yet. I've been in this business for 3 years. I know people who have been in this business selling online for 13, 14, 15 years. And, you know, it's always been the case. It's always been, you know, oh, this is going to end this, you know, it never has. So that's kind of what I want to bring up. You know, don't get panicked by this Supreme Court ruling. It's not against us. While it does considerably muddy the waters and kind of hurt us, it's going to take months, if not years, for us to see how this shakes out. So don't draw conclusions yet. Don't jump to conclusions that it's the end of an era, and just wait and see. And, you know, every time a news article like this comes out, that's kind of my attitude. Wait and see. It never amounts to anything. The opportunity is just as good as when I started, if not better. And I started 3 years ago. The opportunities have changed. You know, business changes. If you don't change in your business, you're going to go out of business. We see that. Telegraph, you know, if they had stayed up to date, we might see some of those telegraph companies. Matter of fact, we still do. Bell Telephone Company. They don't really do much when it comes to telephones anymore, but they're still around. And they were an old telegraph company. They changed. They moved with the times. Those companies that didn't move with the times, they are no more. So, you know, nowadays things move a little more quickly. It's online. Life moves more quickly. And we have to just keep up, stay flexible, but don't panic about these things. And that's kind of what I wanted to say, because I've been reading a bit of panic from some people. And I just wanted to point that out, that it's not the end of the world. The opportunity is still great. If you're already selling on Amazon, keep doing it. Keep growing your business, keep building it, keep working until you become a big business, until, you know, you can kick the boss out the door because you don't need him anymore, or until you get that extra $1,000 a month that you want in income. You know, whatever your goal is with your business, set a goal and go for it. You know, don't worry about panic until we see laws and regulations come down, and we will be able to see that they're coming and when they come. Don't worry about it, and then move when the time comes. So don't jump ahead of yourself. Keep calm, carry on, and go grow your business. And best of wishes to you. And hopefully I'll start making a few more videos. I've been off it for a couple weeks, but I think I'm going to get back on. I've got a couple ideas that I think you're going to like. So that's it for today. I hope you like this webcam recording. I know it's probably bad quality, but such is life. I'm going to throw it up anyway. So you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll talk later. Bye.